What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the KMK Podcast. Here with us today, we have Matthew Batten. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah,
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
A little bit of Matt's background. CT Ray's kid from Shelton, Connecticut. Graduated from St. Joseph's High School in Trumbull back in 2013. From there, went on to play Division I baseball at Quinnipiac University in Hamden, Connecticut. And then from there, was drafted in the 32nd round to the San Diego Padres. So welcome, Matt.
Yeah.
Glad to have you.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll start the first question off. How'd you get started at KMK?
So I was sort of between gyms, and my mom works at St. Joe's and always spoke very highly of you guys, so I came and checked it out, and you guys were great, and this whole Revive area was great, so it reminded me of like kind of my season. I had the same things that I use in season, and I had a good energy, so that's kind of put me in touch, and not really looking back.
It's awesome, man.
Great.
And just for like the athletes watching, because obviously we train a bunch of youth athletes, kind of walk them through your daily routine, not just with us, but your overall routine.
Yeah, so I'm big. I start like the night before. Didn't used to be the most organized person, so I write out my whole day.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as like wake up, leave for here. So I'll wake up at 5 a.m., leave at 5:15, be in the cold tub at 5:50. Then I'll put next block would be like lift from 6 to, that's usually roughly 7 to 7:15.
Yep.
After that, it's right into the red light behind me for 10 minutes and then 20 minutes of sauna. And then I usually go home and relax, or I live near a beach. I'll go walk on the beach and hang out there. And then my next block that I schedule out is my hitting. Put all the times I want to be there, what time I want to stretch, what time I want to do that. Because I was telling you guys earlier, there's some sort of like satisfaction with just being able to a little check mark.
Yep.
And I do all that, and then on the other side of my page, I put my whole hitting plan together, what I want to focus on that day. Go from there. If I want video, I make sure I mark it, and then once hitting's done, check that box. I go right into my hitting review, keep my notebook, write down what felt good, what felt bad, if there's either or both, and then that way at night when I sit down to write my schedule, I just go back real quick, read what I wrote, and write it out, and then I usually have my meals scheduled in there.
When you go back each day, do you kind of say like, oh, I can improve in this area, I forgot to do X, Y, and Z kind of deal?
Yeah, it's more of, because hitting is such a sensitive movement. Like there's so many moving parts trying to hit a round ball with a round bat. So it's just looking at what worked and what didn't work. But I'm huge into not overcomplicating things. Like if a routine's working, I'm going to stick with it. I'll always add things because there's different parts of the swing, different drills I can do to focus on different things. But I'm not one to reinvent the wheel, kind of old fashioned in that sense. Like I'm just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of thing. So I'm just kind of, consistency usually leads to good things in anything. So that's where I'm at.
And you touch about it a little bit, how it's very like swinging is a lot of like mental too. Can you talk about the mental aspect of baseball? Because I know it's a huge mental sport as well.
Oh my God.
I know you could probably dive into this a lot.
Oh, I could be here for a while.
Yeah.
It's just tough. Like when you're rolling and you're raking, it's easy. You're excited to get to the box. You're excited to get to the stadium. When you're getting your doors blown and you're struggling and you're working, and like still not getting results, like it's tough. Like I'm just a big believer. You just have to keep showing up. Like no matter. I saw Michael Phelps talk the other day. It really resonated with me. Like there's days he don't want to train, and like he was 30% of his best, whatever. But like that 30%, as long as he goes and gives that's all he has. And like. That's for me. That's why I'll never have regrets. Like as long as I kept showing up and I kept working. But the mental side's brutal. Like you have to the best hitters are the most confident people in the world. And you have to find ways to fake it too. When you're not feeling good, you have to fake it. But somehow, I know I said fake it, but make it genuine at the same time. Because the baseball gods will see right through that and chew you up and spit you out. So
100%.
Just trying to find ways to be confident and just reflect on. I'm big on I watch highlight reels of myself. All my homers, all my doubles, absolutely. If I faced a pitcher and had success, I'm watching all those at bats, making sure I'm in a good headspace to go and just compete, because there's nights where it's not going to be there.
And it's crazy that it can fluctuate up and down, like we saw even in the World Series. Aaron Judge struggled a lot. That was probably more of a mental issue than actual swing issue.
And I'm not I don't root against, just because I do understand how hard it is. I never root against guys, but there's some sort of peace in that. For me, it's the best in the world struggle too.
Exactly.
Ohtani was struggling. The two best hitters in the game of baseball struggle. Like it's not like
exactly.
Baseball's different, man. It's not like other sports where slumps seem to be a little bit quicker. This like Judge wanted to hit, and it's just like he's working, and it's just one of those things. Like it's why baseball's so hard. You could put in all the work, the results are not going to come back to you right away. It's brutal. It's like
so you really got to fall in love with the process, like you said. Your routine.
Absolutely.
And just control the controllables what you can.
Yep.
More importantly, just keep stacking those days, right? When you feel like it, or when you don't, you know.
You just got to show up and eventually you'll be rewarded. That's the hardest part. It's like everyone says hard work, you're going to, like people think now it's like hard work, the next day it's going to come. Like that's not the case.
Yep.
I'm going to show up making swing changes or working, and I might not see it for 10 days. Like I might struggle for 10 days and it finally clicks. Like that's why I'm going to just show up.
Yeah, right.
Continue to show up, and then eventually it's going to fall into place. But hard work isn't rewarded 24 hours later. It's not immediate. No. Like just because I come in here and work out, it's not going to immediately translate. I consistently show up.
It's a journey.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We actually talked about it this morning in our session, but at what age did you really find like that baseball was your sport? Like, did you play other sports growing up? And like at what time in your life were you like, baseball is that sport for me? Yeah,
I started playing baseball when I was 3, and it was always my favorite.
Yep.
But I loved playing other sports. Loved basketball, liked football. I'm not the toughest guy. Played soccer, honestly anything. I was big wiffle ball, kickball. I just truly enjoyed like being outside playing sports. But I knew from the age of 3 I would play all those sports, but the only one I really worked at was baseball. Yeah, not in a bad way. I just wanted to play baseball.
And did it click for you at a young age? Did you have to work for it?
Yeah, I was blessed with good hand-eye or eye-hand coordination, whichever way that goes. And it just kind of, I enjoyed it. Like I would sit in my driveway and throw a ball off the wall for hours and like genuinely had fun doing it. Yeah. Which is like part of it for me. And then, once I started to get recruiting, I played football and basketball freshman year, along with baseball, obviously, then basketball sophomore year. And once the recruitment process started, I was like, wasn't the biggest kid, had to start getting in the weight room a little bit, start focusing and ironing out some details in my game to hopefully get to the next level, which I was fortunate to. And from there, but I still love, when I'm retired, the first thing I'm doing is joining like a men's basketball league or a bowling league. Yeah. Yep.
I'm glad you mentioned recruitment too, because obviously recruitment's totally different now that the NIL space kind of opened up. So what was like recruiting for you back in the day, and what would you do differently if you were getting recruited nowadays?
For me, the NIL is wild, but that's a whole different thing. It started pretty like end of sophomore year going into junior year pretty much. And I always had a reputation as a good defender, but I was very undersized. My first weigh in college was no more than 140 pounds, like 5'9", very small, but like knew the game well. So I was getting reached out from like the mid-major Division I's like at Quinnipiac and some good Division II's in the area. But essentially I hit it off with that coach right away, Coach John Delaney. I'm so close with him. Same personality as me, like just show up and work. Like just nothing pretty about this. Like you have to show up and work. And I respected that. But I ended up right where I'm supposed to be. But the only thing I would regret, I only looked at schools that looked at me. Like I never actually reached out myself. That's my biggest thing, was tell kids to reach out. Yeah. Like I said, at the end of the day, I would have ended up at Quinnipiac because that's where I loved it. It was. I have zero regrets. But I did not look at a school. I didn't research a school unless you called me or you popped up in my email. So that's the only thing. My advice to kids, like reach out. What's the worst can worst? They don't answer. Like it's okay. Like right. And there's a place for everyone. There's more college sports than people think. Especially in New England, the world seems so small. But like there's so many Division I's, Division II's, Division III's, and those levels are closer in competition than you think. Like, exactly. There's like this big ego and thing. Like no, like and I was a big believer. Like my advice, like I got recruited by a few slightly bigger schools than Quinnipiac, but I wasn't going to play. Till junior year, and that never interested me. I'd rather go to a slightly lesser school and play and contribute right away. Like, I'm not someone. I view myself as a good teammate, but I don't enjoy sitting on the bench giving advice. Like, that will never be fun for me. But so that's my side of it.
And you say you started out, your first college weigh-in was 140. What like quality do you think separates you from other people that are in the major leagues right now? What can you say is like separates you from like the pack? Would you say?
I think one was defensively. I was really strong because everyone's gonna, like we just talked about, everyone's gonna struggle hitting. But if you could catch the throw and throw the ball consistently, you're there. And 2, two other things I did well. Like, if you ever see me play, I play with a ton of effort. Like, there's nothing really taken for granted. Like, every ground ball I hit, as long I might be pissed off, but I'm running down the line. There's no dog in it. And the other thing, like, I know the game well. Like, I'm never going to be, I'm prepared. I'm never going to be out of position. I'm never going to be caught sleeping on something. Like, I'm prepared and I pay attention. And it's just simple as that. It's like, there's no secret to any of this. Like,
so pretty much teams know what they're getting when they pick you up.
You don't have to worry about me when I'm out there. Like, I'll pay attention. Awesome. I'll use the stuff they tell me. I'll do my own research, and it's just kind of going off stuff like that. But
And I see that hand in hand every day when we're working. You know, everything that I say and I give you, you're going 110% speed. You know, so a lot of these guys that I train in here, it's like a lot of it is repetitive. You know, a lot of it is just for routine like things, just some of the small and the little things that go a long way. I see a lot of the kids.
With, sorry to interrupt. I think people get bored with like.
Yep, that's what it is.
People think the big leagues, like they have to do all these fancy drills, just that. Like, big leaguers are big leaguers and high-level sport guys are high-level sport guys because they're so good at the fundamentals. If you get bored with fundamentals, you're not going to amount to much. It's like everyone wants to see, like, switch sports, like, sees Curry shoot, see his range. He doesn't start there. There's so many things, like, nobody wants to take this jump shot from right on the rim 100 times to perfect it. Nobody wants to throw a ball off a wall and just literally work on this one little move. That could be the difference. People want to, like, it's not sexy. There's no appeal to that. And it's like, if you find love in that and process in that, like, that's where you're going to go leaps and bounds ahead of people. Not doing all this crazy stuff that you see now. It's like the fundamentals are fundamentals for a reason. Like, big leaguers and, like I said, high-level athletes master those. You don't have to worry about their fundamentals. And that's why they're able to do so many cooler things, because their foundation is so strong. And they pay attention to detail. And like I keep saying, fundamentals, that's where the cool plays happen. It's not like they don't necessarily practice all of these, but it's like it comes from their foundation being so strong. And that's one thing I always notice. I do a little coaching in the off season. That's one thing I tell kids, and it's tough for them. Like, they want to do the diving plays. They want to,
And it's pretty much good that you said, fall in love with the fundamentals, but also fall in love with the process. I feel like, Chris and I train a lot of younger kids, and they want results super quick, and they're quick to say, like, oh, it's not working, like, let's switch it up. But they've only been going to program for a couple of weeks. You got to really, like, see it out and fall in love with the boring stuff. Fall in love with the boring stuff. You know what works. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Luckily, we've had, thousands and millions of athletes before us that we know that worked, and we know this process works. So you kind of just got to fall in love with the process, whether you do good or bad. Like you're saying, so it's a complete mental game.
And trust me, I'm a little hypocritical because people know me. Like, I was result driven for a while, and there's still part of me. Like, results get you jobs, results get you moved, but like, this year is like a goal. Like, I'm just gonna enjoy like the process. Like, I'm not gonna. There's no result based. There's no results right now. Like, each day is something that can be accomplished. That there's no win or loss. I'm not going 0 for 4. I'm not going 4 for 4. Like, none of that's available today. Like, it's truly just like day by day, and it's kind of mentally cleared me up. It's taking care of some stress, and it's just like living that way. It's kind of like,
for sure.
Like,
well, going back to what you were saying, I feel like the struggle with this younger generation is like they see all these videos and all this flashy stuff on Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, and they want to replicate that. They're like, oh, I want that. I want that in my training, and it's like, all right, well, let me see what a basic squat looks like, and they can barely get down, and they're struggling with that, but yet they want to try to load up the bar with 1,000 pounds and then jump over this, it's like, it's not.
And
it's
all
not,
like social media and Instagram, especially from
comparison.
Like a hitting side, exactly, and it's all finished product.
Like,
you put a video of the best hitters in the world hitting a home run, like, no kidding, that was a good swing. Like, of course it was, but like
20 years.
20 years, but what was his preparation? All right, just go one step. What was his preparation that day? You don't see a lot of videos of that. It's just like, oh, you have to swing like this. Well, he's doing things to swing like that you just aren't showing them.
Right.
And then you're trying to force people to move in a certain way when you don't know if their body even works that way. Like, that's one thing I tell people is it's all finished product. Like, you don't see the process. That's realistically the process. The result is because of the process. It's not vice versa. Like, their work comes first, then that positive result happens. Like, and people just see that video of someone hitting a homer and be like, that's it. Like, you just got to do that. It's like, it's not that simple. But
so a question I wanted to ask is, tell me the feeling it was when you came out onto the fields in your MLB debut. Tell me like some of the thoughts that were running through your head at that time.
Wild. I was just like, you're just like shaking.
Right.
It's just like as much as you want to stay calm, cool, and collected. Like it's just like it's exhilarating and not almost overwhelming at a point, but like it's just like
such a surreal experience.
yeah.
Right?
You just like I debuted at Dodger Stadium, which is cool, and you look up and it holds 60,000 and it's loud and it was Dodgers Padres, so it's like the atmosphere was even better. So it's like you just kind of look around for a second, but then you quickly have to come back to the realization. Yeah. That's why it's like I debuted as a pinch runner.
Yep.
So that's kind of nice. Like obviously don't lose focus there, but it wasn't in the box. I went out and played defense after, but it was kind of a nice way to like wet my feet.
Exactly.
And then my first at bat came the next day. And unfortunately popped up, but like I felt a little more comfortable.
Right. Yeah.
But it's still every time these past 3 years I've gotten to go out there, it's like it's all I've wanted to do since I was 3. So it's like I won't say emotional because I'm not like a high emotion person, but it's like rewarding. It's like everything I've done, like everything I've sacrificed, like everything. It's like it was worth it.
Right.
So for you being at like that highest stage and knowing what it's all about to get to that level, what advice do you have for someone that was in your shoes years ago wanting to play at that level at that stage?
Just for baseball, especially like I said earlier, you have to just keep showing up. Like working once a week or working twice a week or showing up for a whole week once, then taking the first 3 days and the next week off. Like that's inconsistent.
Yep.
Like baseball does not reward inconsistency. Like you have to keep showing up and you have to like, it's okay to fail. Like everybody fails in baseball. And if that bothers you, it's not your sport.
Yep.
Like as you get older, you start hitting lower and lower and lower because the pitching gets better. Like you have to be mentally tough. And one thing I wish I worked on when I was younger was my mental side of the game. That's something that's had to kind of pick up. Honestly, last 3 years being generous, really last 2. Like it's a grind. Like you have to be able to not ride the roller coaster, as a lot of people say. Like you want to avoid all this stuff and all this. Like even when it's going bad, like be the same person.
Right.
And again, people who know me like would see that and be like, well, he could be a lunatic sometimes. But like, and it happens. You're gonna have your moments, but it's how fast can you get back to like being centered and mentally strong, knowing like I'm gonna keep putting the effort in. Like that's all I could control. Because especially like, you start working on things as a hitter, and then you line out to center field 3 times, and you think like that's a failure. It's like, well, that's the beauty of baseball. Like the best swing doesn't always create the best result, and the worst swing doesn't always create the worst result. Like it's just like if you're more process driven and less result driven, I think it would be a lot easier.
I like
people.
that.
I like that a lot. One question I had too, because so now you're a free agent, so like kind of tell us how that is. I mean, it must be a little bit nerve wracking that you don't know where you are going to be placed, but you still show up every single day, same routine. Like he is not lying about any of his routines every single day, the same. So kind of tell everyone how how it is being a free agent.
It's new, so it's the first time in my career. I was 2017 to this past year with the Padres, and that's come to an end, and it was great. But it's definitely nerve-wracking because I'm someone I do like to know what's next. I like a little bit of control, so it's stressful, but it's just kind of waiting to see who reaches out and what seems to be the best fit, hopefully, if all that comes. But it's like it's still what I want to do. So no matter if I know where I'm playing or not, like this still matters. Like I still have to be ready. It's not like
100%.
It's not like I could sign then start getting ready.
Exactly.
It's like I have to do it first, which is tough. Like I'm sure hopefully it doesn't drag out too long, but like the later it go, it'll be a mental grind. It's just something I'll have to deal with. But it's interesting. It's not as like exciting as people think because you don't know. Like like I said, I'm someone I like to know.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it's stressful, but it's fun. It's an opportunity. Like I look at things like that. Like a lot of people don't get to this point in their career, unfortunately. Like, even the ones that get drafted, some get released too early. Yeah. And it's just like get to this point in your career is kind of an honor. Like that's kind of how I spin it. It's like if I ever catch myself like getting anxious about it, I spin it that way, and I'm just like, all right, like it's an opportunity. Whatever happens. That's up to God. But like it's just kind of my way of like calming myself down. Like it's an honor to get to this point. Yeah. Like
well, I think you have a very bright future outside of baseball too. And like when you're finished with your playing days, what do you think you want to do? Because I know we talked about it a little bit, but
there's a lot of things I'd want to do. It's like I definitely in the game. Like I've dedicated my life to it, and I still genuinely love it. So it's not like I want to like once I'm done, I'm like, I want to see what the real world's like. Like I have zero interest in finding out what the real world's like. I don't want to. And I don't know, something in the game. And I think I would prefer either like we've talked like maybe a training facility would be fun. but there's a part of me that loves the game, like the actual game of it
Want to be
still,
out there.
with the guys and see them progress. So like, I don't know. I would love to be like there's different coordinators that you have throughout each organization. I would love to be an infield coordinator.
Mhm.
It means you're not with one team, you're just with the organization. You travel to different affiliates and just help them out there. Or there's things like a farm director who's kind of the middleman between the big leagues
Yeah.
or the minor leagues and the GM.
Yep.
So the GM calls the shots, but he's there. Because I do have a very deep appreciation for minor league baseball. Like it's a grind. It's like people don't see the guts of professional sports. Like not everything's
100%.
pretty. Like
Yeah.
but like I have such an appreciation for these guys going through low A, hopping on 14-hour bus rides. Like that's a grind. Like so I'd love to be that middleman in some capacity. But then another goal, like I would love to run my own college program.
Yeah.
So I like that style of baseball too. So I don't know if that was a direct answer, but
No,
like,
it's
just ideas I have.
Yeah.
But I know it's going to be within the game in some capacity,
Right.
Stuff
And,
like that.
I mean, like we were talking a little bit. I think if you did something with like mental and baseball, just because your mentality is so strong and so, nothing can break it, I think that would be like very unique to offer, younger baseball players or something.
Especially
of
now
that
in today's
nature.
world, mental health is something that's big.
Yeah, and I'm someone like my experience is coming from like failing at it. Like it's not like something I've had this mastered my whole life, and I still don't have it. I never will. Like if you think you're ever going to master something, like that's where you kind of trip up. Like I've had plenty of times where I've thrown bats, thrown equipment, but it's like the more I've learned, and like especially in pro ball, you're playing 150 games in like 170 days. Like it's every day.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting to play that way. So that's kind of what got me going on it a little better. And I've had good veteran players around me kind of like, hey, calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're coming back tomorrow. You're going to be playing tomorrow. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And once I started adapting that, it's like going. But like you're saying, like I would love to help with that because I've had so much trial and error with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I never wanted to come off like, oh, I've had it figured out forever. Like, no. And I think that's an okay thing to say. Like, people who act like they know it all the time is like brutal.
Yeah,
like,
it's brutal.
You could have a conversation and like show like I've learned this
Yeah.
by failing at it at the same time.
Exactly. 100%.
So all that stuff.
So going back to, like we talked about, the grind, like the preparation, especially in the off season, tell everyone what it's like to, like, you work out, you strength train here, you hit with a hitting coach, you do throwing on the side, like how important filling all those bubbles in the off season, how important it really is. Like I have athletes that come in here and all they do is they want to lift. And yes, as an athlete, it's great to be strong, to be explosive, but that's half the game.
Sure.
There's footwork involved, depending on the sport, there's
Skill
throwing,
work.
there's rotation work. Go off and elaborate a little bit more on how important it is to fill those.
It's crazy important. Like from my perspective, it's like I've never, like I said, fortunate to go up and down to the big leagues. I've never had a guaranteed spot. So like when you go into spring training is different for different people. Like the big dogs under contract, they're fine. They're going to be on the team no matter what. But like I can't show up and use spring training to get ready. I have to be ready for spring training because that's my tryout. That's my, whether I make the team out of camp or not or whatever happens, just showing I'll have no regrets. Like I'm showing up prepared. Like spring training isn't to get me ready. I'm leaving here ready for spring training.
Yep.
That's kind of my mindset. And it's like, like all this stuff are different opportunities. It's like they use it to get you ready, but like you have to perform because you could get cut out of there. Like it's just like, it's not the spring training of the late 70s and all that stuff where they needed all this time to get ready. Now all of us, you see how I am, but people do that all the time. So it's like you go in physically in shape.
Yep.
So it's like I treat them always as a tryout.
Right.
And see if I make sure my body's ready to go from
Especially at that stage, it's pretty cutthroat, dude.
For
You
sure.
don't show up for a week, that's it.
there. There's business to all this. It's not sign up and play.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, going back, a couple more for you. So we talk about the routine, what it takes to prepare. Run me through your pre-game routine, any superstitions that you like to add in before a game or game day.
Like?
What's Matthew Batten doing the night before the day of a game?
So it's like my only superstition is the night before. If I had a certain dinner and I got 3 hits, I'm going to have that same dinner.
Yeah.
But I won't necessarily show up and do the same thing in the cage because I try to prepare for each pitcher. I can't do the same thing and have it work. And I don't want that to ever be the case for me because then it becomes like almost like you're trapped in it and you feel like you have to do certain things to perform or that you don't want to make those connections.
Yeah.
Not that the food thing's necessarily important, but like in my head it is. So that's
Yeah.
the way I do it. It's like
It goes back to confidence.
Yeah.
If you feel confident, like, hey, if I had that steak, I did good last time I had a steak.
Yeah.
You're feeling confident. That means it works.
100. And the God forbid you have 3 hits again. You're like,
Yeah.
Oh, I'm onto something here.
yeah.
Right?
And trust me, I wish it was always steak.
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
always
yeah,
healthy.
exactly.
I'll
Yeah.
get that off my chest. It's not
Yeah.
always healthy. But then I'm big. Like you see, I love the cold tub.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I start most of my days. And then it's year to year, really. Like in years past, when I was more of a platoon guy, even in the minors, I would lift a little more to keep my body ready.
Yep.
And in season, as I got older and became more of an everyday guy in AAA, especially, I would turn into more like I'm more baseball focused.
Yep.
Because the game's keeping me in shape in a way. Like I still do things in the weight room, but I'm not necessarily lifting 3 or 4 times a week like I would be if I wasn't playing consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would more be baseball focused, but it's nice I had those times in my career where it was like in the minors I wasn't playing a lot, so I had this routine. So guess what? When I go up to the big leagues, and it worked. So when I went up to the big leagues and wasn't playing as consistently as I was in AAA, I know I have a routine that worked for me.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that. But then, yeah, get to the stadium around 1:30 for 7 o'clock. Go.
Wow, it's early.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Then, like I said, cold tub if I need treatment, little weight room stuff, go right to the cage. I like to be in the cage by 2:30, do all my early hitting, my routine that I have to get ready, and then I would go from there, usually do early ground balls. So it'd be like just little drills I do and then go take full ground balls.
Mm-hmm.
And then on-field BP, if I felt like I needed it, I would hop in, but I wouldn't do that every day.
Yep.
Then come in, eat, shower, and then full uniform. I guess that's one superstition, but it's not. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
I just put my full uniform on, then I go back to the cage and do different things, like more velocity, more game-like things to get ready.
Yep.
So
And
that's more
not a
routine.
music guy, right? We talk about that.
I
a
like
lot,
music.
right?
I'm just not. You don't want me on.
Right,
I'm
right,
very.
right.
I'm very mainstream.
I ask Matt every
Yeah.
time in the lift. I go, "Yo, what do you want?" Because normally, sometimes we're one of the only people in the gym,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
have.
I'll work
the
out in
speaker.
silence. I don't.
He goes,
yeah.
I don't care. Just put something on. It's just
Yeah.
it's background.
I like
We're
all.
locked
I
in.
like all music,
Which
but
is
I'm
great.
not good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to be in charge of that. It stresses me.
Right. Right.
I got one question that I just saw too. What's your favorite thing to do outside of baseball? You know, to just get away from the game. Do you have any like hobbies outside of that?
I'm big, so I always love sports. Like it's not like I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
paint a picture. It's just
Exactly.
it's not me.
Not
I wish
you.
I was, but it's
Yeah.
not. So I love golf. I'm not good. I've gotten into bowling. I
Bowling, huh?
genuinely enjoy bowling.
Bowling set.
It's kind of nice to do like these individual sports because I always grew up doing team sports.
Yeah.
Sports, which I prefer, but like
Yeah.
it's nice to just be in charge of yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not that serious, but like
Yeah.
being athletes, like we're competitive by nature,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like you want to challenge yourself, but it's nice to be. I'm in charge of this. I
Yeah.
can't blame anybody. I can't
Yeah.
blame teammates. I can't blame umpires. I can't blame
Yeah.
coach. Like this is just it's either me or it's not
Yeah.
gonna work. So I
Yeah.
kind of like doing individualized stuff, but
It's awesome.
no, that's pretty much anything
Any
like sport related.
any pickleball lately? Me and him been playing a little
I
bit.
play a little bit. We
Yeah.
should get out.
Dude,
because
if you want to get to
Pickleball's
work,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
I think
Pickleball's
we're
awesome.
undefeated, right? I don't think we've ever lost.
we could go 2
We
on
only
one.
played a couple
We'll go
games.
2 on 1. Yeah, you guys need each
Yeah.
other.
All right.
No, I would gladly.
Last question. It's been talked about in the gym for the past couple weeks, almost a month now. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
For like just best ever.
Overall
Best.
of all time.
Yeah,
What you got?
I'm a LeBron guy. I've told you that.
I
through and through.
agree.
Yep.
But I gave you my argument off camera too. Like I think he's just the most talented player
Yep.
to touch a basketball and, like you said, possibly a sport. But I love Michael Jordan. Like I think he's one of one. Like
Yeah.
I truly think they're 1A and 1B. But like, and I grew up watching LeBron. Like I'm someone like I want to be someone I watch as the greatest.
Right.
Yeah.
I could YouTube Jordan, but it's like it's not.
But also
live.
Right.
look at all the things that LeBron's done outside of basketball.
Yeah.
Brought in the league. He started a whole school. Like
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Crazy.
done.
They're both successful.
Very successful off the court
They
too.
both are.
So it's
Yeah,
really-
that's the hardest
Yeah.
question.
hard.
I used to argue it a lot harder, but like I've done like
Yeah.
watched Jordan. I love Michael Jordan
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Like, but
Yeah.
just wasn't my era, so that's why I go with the guys in my era.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but
Well, thanks for thanks for joining us today,
Yeah,
man.
thanks
Wish
for
you the
having me.
best luck, and let's keep it
appreciate
going,
you,
bro.
Robin. Yeah, of course,
Keep it
man.
going.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
thanks.
Yeah, we're out.
All right.